practiced with the team and you were around the program. So just what did you learn from that time where you obviously weren't playing, but you were taking everything in, you were learning, you were practicing? What did you learn from that time?
Man, it was a real humbling experience because I wasn't able to play, so I was just practicing, but I was coming in every day, giving the guys all I had, man. And then I actually enjoyed it, though. I just got to learn a lot of things from all the guys around me, or the guys that left the season, but I was just taking everything in.
I love it. So, like, pretty much every practice day was your personal game day then, because that was your time to shine.
That's exactly how I was looking at it, too.
You had the best out of anyone. You had 5 game days. Look at you,
5
man.
game days.
So, I mean, just, through all the practice and then just watching the games as well, very early on in your college career, what was the one biggest thing that you learned the most last year just watching from the sidelines, getting ready for this season?
One thing I learned, like the most thing I learned last season, for real, was, man, just being quiet and just taking notes, man. Just being a sponge, absorbing everything that everybody tells you. Saying, even if it's wrong or right, just listen to it, take heed.
Makes sense. So, Ken, you were coming in from high school. Obviously, you were very successful there, high recruit, very productive. But everyone has a transition in college where it kind of hits them like, oh, shoot, this is a higher level. So what was something that was like harder than you expected? Or I guess what was the most challenging part about going from high school to college?
Oh, the hardest transition for us, understand that everybody's good. Everybody's here for a reason. So sometimes you ain't always gonna get that edge. He might get you once or twice, but, man, you gotta just shake back, handle adversity.
And what's the thing you're looking forward to the most during games? I mean, last year, kind of just had to hang out, chill, watch it. But what are you looking forward to the most when you are between those lines this year?
Man, I'm just waiting for Game 1 against Central Michigan, September 1st, man. I'm just waiting to get after it. That's all. I'd rather just show y'all than tell y'all because I've been talking about it for a while. So I'm just going to show y'all.
I can feel that energy.
Yeah,
love it, man. Yeah.
For sure. So speaking of, I guess, the D-line as a whole, last year the D-line didn't really get a chance at full strength to show what they're about. There were so many injuries there. But you saw what the talent there was like, and this time around you've seen them in spring camp. What's going to make this defensive line special? What's your assessment of this whole defensive line and what you think it's going to be all about?
I think we got a very good group, a very talented group, man. Like, man, we like this Philadelphia Eagles D-line, how we finna be snapping, man. Like, I'm telling y'all, it's finna be real active. I'm telling y'all.
Wow, you're playing to the crowd here because JT, he's a huge Philly fan.
Yeah,
here,
got my Iverson shirt on right here. My dad's from Pennsylvania, so die hard with all the Philly teams.
I'm outnumbered already. Wow, this is rare. I'm usually, it's all Detroit sports here with
every time Ken gets a sack, I'm just gonna tweet a GIF of like Josh Sweat or something.
I love that. And how about like amongst the coaching staff? Because obviously there's been a lot of turnover at your position group just on coaches in the last year. But Dyron Reynolds, he stepped in. What has he been like as a coach so far for you this spring?
Yeah, Coach Reynolds, man, I love Coach Reynolds, man. He an old school guy, so he giving us the game. He got a lot of Hall of Famers and old guys under his belt. We watching a lot of that Dwight Freeney. He be getting us right in there, man. I'm adjusted to him now. I like him a lot. I feel like he's gonna teach me a lot of good things to transition to my game and take us to the next level.
Love that.
That's good to hear. And speaking of like good energy and stuff, we've seen you on Twitter ever since you've been here, being an active recruiter, just telling guys to come to Michigan State and stuff like that. Does that kind of just come from your personality as a whole, or is that because of what you've seen from Michigan State? Like, is that you kind of really wanting to sell people on what you've seen already here, or are you just outgoing social and that's kind of where that comes from?
It's just a personality thing, man. I just want to win. I want to get national championships, so I understand that. But winning that comes with recruiting and stuff like that. We got to bring the best guys in, so I'm willing to do whatever for the team and get us to that next level.
And speaking of recruiting, the crop of young guys so far, the ones on the defense, are there any young players that are sticking out the most as a surprise for you so far in practice?
Yeah, we got a lot of young guys standing out, but primarily a guy that I'm always in with is Jordan Hall, man. He's showing off as a leader. That young carrot there gonna be special.
Gotcha. Love it. He looked the part in the spring game for sure, both physically and just the way he played. It was like, yeah, he looks like he's been here for about 3 years. Like, this is going to work here, I think.
Yeah. And I guess sticking with the theme of recruiting, your recruitment when you committed to Michigan State out of the portal, what was that time like? Was it kind of like they were one of the first schools to call you committed immediately? Was it a long, lengthy process? How did that go? Take us behind the scenes at that time of your life?
Yeah, so my recruiting process when I hopped in the portal, it went pretty well for me. A lot of schools reached out, but it's just Michigan State stuck out. Like I believe they got contacted me like the first week. They contacted me. I took a look over the staff. I started seeing all the guys they had, and it was like, man, I'm coming here, man. They're gonna develop my game. So like coaches such as BT Jordan, Coach Vic, Coach Coleman, I seen that. I say, yeah, I got to get here, man.
And even with all the turnover, been fine. I mean, obviously Mel Tucker's been here a while. What kind of a coach has he been like for you so far?
Oh, Coach Tuck, man, he's real motivational, man. I ain't gonna lie, Coach Tuck, he influential too. Like he'll make you get into that ball relentlessly, like full effort every time. Like he make me go. Like sometimes at practice, I might just be doing a drill, and he just come out of nowhere and just boost me. Like Coach Tuck, my guy, man.
Love it. He's got a good 40 time then. That's good to hear. That's good. Comes out of nowhere. Love it.
Too. Like, he got
wow, look at him go. Dang. Yeah. He's on the strain train. All right. I love it. There we go. There we go. So, you know what? We got to get down to something here. This is something that you tweeted. And I don't know how, like, connected to fan debates you are, but there was an incident last week that happened that had this fan base in a civil war. And it was the game moving to Ford Field to end the season against Penn State. So, Ken, while we have you here, you tweeted out, quote, "They just made the last game of the season even more special for me. Go Green." How come? Why is it going to be a little more special for you over there, Ken?
Man, it's just like, I used to go to Penn State, man. So just getting an opportunity to get on the field and just show them what they missed out on is opportunity to ball, man. I just can't wait. Them all my brothers, though. I just can't wait to get on that field. And this being at the Ford Field, it became a lot more special.
Oh, yeah. There we go. The fast show. That's going to be nice.
Yeah, playing at NFL Stadium. Ken, my last question for you. Got to ask you, since you're from Philly, hopefully there's a Meek Mill reference in there, but what's your rap top 5? We got to know what's going through your headphones before a game.
Top 5 before the game?
Yeah.
First, at the 1, I probably come Meek, like on the bus and stuff like that. I'm coming Meek.
Love to hear it.
I'm gonna have some Drake in there, some Turn Drake with 21 Savage off that album. So I'm gonna have them 2 on there. I'm gonna come NBA YoungBoy for sure. Like he gonna get me turned.
Yeah.
I got one of my homies rap, my man Sadi 4. I'm gonna put Sadi 4 on there.
Okay.
And probably at the 5, I probably come YG Tech. Like, okay. They get me going. Going.
All right, you got to tell me what's your favorite Meek project?
My favorite Meek project. I'm gonna go. Hold on, let me see. Dream Chasers 2.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be DC 2. Flamers tapes were good too, but those might be before your time.
No, I know about it though. I know about it.
Love to hear it.
All right, now I got to put you on a hot seat with the top 5. It's a segment that we call Tal's Pals. That's right. We do this every week, ironically, but finally we have someone with the last name Talley. This is amazing. So there are going to be quick questions, and they're all going to be about your teammates. Ken, are you ready to be put on that flaming hot seat over there? Because this is the pressure.
Yes.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Teammate you would take with you on a 16-hour road trip. You're in a car with him, just one other guy. Who are you taking on this road trip?
My best friend, Zion Young. He going to make me laugh the whole time.
See, that's what you need. You need someone with good stories, a good jokester. That's what I'm talking about. Teammate you would pick to star in a Broadway musical. Who's got the golden pipes over there?
A golden pipe? I don't know who can sing. Oh, I'm going to say Antonio Gates Jr. That's my brother. Singing in the shower.
Every time we do this with a football player, Antonio Gates Jr. always comes up.
Funniest dude, best Mel Tucker impression.
Yes.
Always.
Wow.
No, he's hilarious.
You talk about versatile player. There we go. Most hype teammate. Most hype,
I would say, is a tie between Zion and Malik Spencer. They be hype.
Gotcha.
Like, hold on, no, it's not Ty. It's Lee Spencer. He be out there yelling like from the window, like from when we doing warm ups, he yelling.
Love that. Teammate most likely to be a head coach in 15 years.
Okay, teammate with the knowledge of the game. I don't know, probably Jay Mangum.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's strong.
He love the game.
Yeah.
Or Dylan Tatum, even him with Tatum, man.
That makes sense. Yeah, we had him on not too long ago.
Friend of the show,
that's a guy, 100%. I could see a lot of kids playing for. Last but not least, teammate that's going to surprise the most people this season.
Oh, I already told y'all, man. Malik Spencer is going crazy this season.
Yep.
Like, he should have went crazy last season, but injuries held it back. But this season is coming up. It's going to be a show.
That's what I'm telling you. And that's Tal's pals. There we go. Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? That was fine. Okay, you're not sweating too much over there after those hard-hitting questions.
Appreciate all your time, Ken. Love the energy. We can all tell. Everyone that's watching can tell. We love Michigan State. Oh, yeah. So excited to see you out there this year, man. Thanks a lot for all your time.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed my time here. I'll come
Love
back
to hear
one day.
No, you got it.
For sure, man.
Enjoy the summer, man. Good luck this season.
All right, man. Have a good one.
There we go.
Yeah.
Love the energy. That
Love
just
it.
radiates
Love
off
it.
that guy.
You can just tell, like, he's so happy to be here. He's so happy football is about to come back. So
100%.
Love to see it.
I didn't think I could be more high on the defensive line going into next season, but then like you actually talk to someone that's on the defensive line, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know that I could reach another ceiling of just hope.
Yeah.
And
I've had the tweet draft of buy Malik Spencer stock now in my tweet drafts for like 3-4 weeks. I don't know why it's been there. Actually, I should say almost a few months, because I heard back in December that if he wouldn't have gotten hurt before the Illinois game, he would have been on pace to start earlier in the year.
Gotcha.
So like he was on that upward trajectory, and then the first time we saw him in the Illinois, so the first time we saw him was in the Illinois game. Mm-hmm. It was 4 weeks before that he got hurt. He was going to start that game 4 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
So
I see what you're
early
saying.
in the season he was going to start. So this time around, everything I've heard in spring camp is he's got that other safety spot next to Jaden Mango pretty much locked down. So really excited. That 2022 DB class we always talk about here. Really exciting.
There's a few players you can say that about too. God, that injury bug last year was nasty.
Yeah,
nasty.
Caleb Coley a little bit as well.
Christian Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So like, dude, it water's got to find its level eventually,
Marquis
right? Lowry. We're sure. Oh God, yeah, absolutely, Marquis Lowry. Like, water's going to find its level eventually, right? I feel like the way it's going to average out. No injuries at all this entire year for anyone. That's how we're getting. Let me just.
That basically happened for the Eagles last year. So
no kidding.
Might as well hope for it.
If you got any of that Philly magic you want to lend over to East Lansing, I would not say no to you, man. So that'd be much appreciated. Hey, speaking of things coming to East Lansing,
yes.
How about two amazing basketball players making their return to the green and white? Now, hey, we're not going to sit here and act like this is a big surprise. Probably no one is surprised about this. This was news that was a long time coming. But hey, you know what? Just like Christmas morning, like you're going to get gifts. It's still freaking awesome when you get to open them, and it is a delight. Jaden Akins, AJ Hoggard, within like 5 minutes of each other on Twitter, announced their return to Michigan State. This is going to be a top 10 team, if not a top 5 team. I mean, there are some people saying that they're squarely going to be in the top 3 with the Kansas and the Dukes of the world. And what's not to like about this? I mean, this is going to be a team that has incredible veteran leadership. I mean, Jaden Akins is obviously an amazing guard, not a wing player. Guard.
Yes,
he made that very clear on Tuesday night. So everyone, watch your mouth out there. But beyond him, Tyson Walker, Malik Hall, AJ Hoggard, all going to be 23 years old next year. Like, this is going to be a perfect blend of skill, veteran leadership, and Justin, a top 5 class coming in next year. That's right. Just something light. We're just going to throw these great McDonald's All-Americans and a guy in Cohen Card that could dunk from the half-court line. Coming off the bench. That's what we got.
Gonna be sensational to see how, not only how well they do, but also just how all the puzzle pieces fit. The rotations, who's going to be the hot hand on a given night out of this vast array of options. So it's just going to be so fun to see all the different sort of nuances that come with having such a great, talented team for the first time in a few years, if we're being honest here. I know last year's team did very well in March, but wasn't one of those things where my freshman, sophomore, and junior years, Michigan State was hanging banners, sometimes multiple, sometimes 3. So it's going to be back to those days. So
it's amazing.
I think possibly we'll see.
Favorite part for a State fan when it comes to like Jaden Akins coming back? Like, for example, like mine is that like, okay, well that's another 3-point shooter because you lost a big one in Joey Hauser, and coming back, Tyson Walker, great 3-point shooter. Malik Hall, he has shown he could shoot the 3, but beyond that, like. Akins, it'd be really nice if we can get you at a 42% clip back next year. And sure enough, he did. Is there anything else that sticks out more so for you? Hit me right now.
The ensuing dunk contest between Jaden Akins and Cohen Carr, that'll be just every single day of those guys trying to outdo each other.
The rims better be made of titanium. Like, you remember at the playground? I don't know if you ever played at a playground like this, but they had like the double rims.
Double rims, yeah.
We need triple rims in Breslin Center. Like, no jump shots are going to go in, but at least we won't have to delay a game because a backboard is shattered, thanks to either Akins, Carr.
Yeah.
God, you remember when Malik Hall off an injury came back and almost had a concussion on the backboard because he jumped so high? I mean, it was,
2 weeks removed from amputation rumors.
Oh, yeah. that's true. They're going to put him down like a horse. It was going to be the most insane moment you've ever seen on a basketball court. And then, 2 weeks later, he's grazing his head on the rim. That was amazing. But
exciting times.
If I ever get in a down mood this summer, just someone needs to whisper MSU basketball this November, and I will just smile immediately. That's all I need to hear. I'm going to flip it. Hoggard, like, best thing about Hoggard coming back.
Oh, I think this is huge. When you have a team where you have a really good point guard like Jeremy Fears, long term you're going to be in great shape. But what kind of would happen is there's going to be kind of like a settling in period.
Yeah.
Every freshman point guard, no matter who it really is, maybe Kyrie at Duke was like the guy that didn't have it, but then he missed half the year.
Sure,
so like,
right.
It's like you're barely ever going to see a guy that's going to be coming in and being a maestro of a college offense as a true freshman point guard, especially an offense like Michigan State's.
Yeah.
So even if somebody subscribed to the notion of, by March, he'd be good enough to lead the team, that's fine. But what seed are you going to have because you've lost 3 or 4 games because of that earlier sort of like transition period? So I think it's huge to have continuity. Yep. I think also the way that he was playing at the end of the year is also good itself. So not just continuity in that theme, the actual performance that he brings in a tangible sense, that's going to be good. So it's huge. It cannot be overstated having a junior point guard come back like this and senior point guard, right?
Well, soon to be senior point guard. I mean, it is goes without saying. Like, look, we knew that he was a fine player last year. He was a good point guard, but man, the end of his season, last 3 weeks, last 8 games, double-digit scoring in all 8 of those games. Half those games, 6+ assists, including that one at Nebraska, where he just had a light 14 assist night on the road when they were down. What were they? Down 12 going into halftime. Barnstormed back, got the dub. Thank you, AJ Hoggard. But like, at the end of the season, this is going to be like the most lame sport talk guy cliche of all time, but he got it at the end of the year, right? Yeah. I mean, there were times in the middle of the year where, it doesn't seem like we're completely locked in. We're a little bit passive right now. Not those last 2-3 weeks. He was getting his in every single game. I mean, God, just look at that Kansas State game. Fortunately, did not end in a win, but he took matters into his own hands. Season high 25 points. I mean, you saw his team that needed a bucket, and every single time he was like, well, fine, I'll just lower my shoulder, get in the paint, either go to the free throw line or get a layup. And that's the other thing too I love about AJ Hoggard. He's definitely the best player on this team at getting to the free throw line. And also not too shabby at it last year either, 82% from the line. So that's a major point of the offense too, because I don't know how many other guys this year are going to have a knack for getting to the free throw line. We didn't really see it a lot last year outside of guys like AJ Hoggard, but that's what I like having.
And especially some of those games towards the end of the year when Michigan State's 3-point percentage dipped. I know some of those were open misses, but a lot of them were teams raising their defense up in elevation and running Michigan State off the 3-point line. But that opened up driving lanes, and AJ was the most savvy at actually using that to his advantage. Akins is good downhill, but not really off the dribble. It's more of being set up in transition. Tyson Walker's good at it too, but when there's a mismatch, some guys are a little more physical. It's a little harder. But AJ was that guy that was going ahead and initiating, whether it was a drop-off on his way to the basket, whether it's him going up, whether it's initiating an open shot after defense collapses. That part of his game is one that was hard to replicate for anybody else on Michigan State last year.
Yeah, and so right now, going into next season, Bart Torvik has them estimated as the number 3 offensive efficiency team in the country. 26 defensive, which out of 300 some schools, that's still really good, but I still feel like the defense next year is going to be a tad underrated.
100%.
Like, just the return of AJ Hoggard, who I think is an underrated defender. Tyson Walker, he's impossible to underrate. Like, that guy is a great defender. He's got the karate hands. I mean, just so fast. And then Jaden Akins, solid defender as well. And then you go into the post. It's so hard not to get my hopes up. It's so hard not to get my hopes up right now.
The switchability, too, between AJ can probably guard a lot of guys out of position.
Oh, yeah.
Probably going all the way up to other teams' opposing threes.
Yep.
And then Akins and Cohen Carr, the switchability. All those guys can probably guard 1 through 4 in a pinch. Akins might be a little hard on the 4, but for the most part, depending on the exact measurables of the other guy, they probably could guard 1 through 4 in a pinch.
Yeah, they absolutely, positively could. And just one more thing I want to bring up, and this is away from the stats, the analytics, even the court, really, but I just love that this crop of freshmen coming in, this incredible recruiting class, immediately get thrown into a culture of hard work and what it takes to win. I mean, this is going to be a group that came back with a mission.
Right.
They didn't come back just to like score a sweet NIL check or, just because the sprawling coastlines of East Lansing are beautiful. Like, no, they came back because the job is not finished. And if I know anything about what I've heard and what we've seen on TV too, when these guys play, these guys are what they call dogs for a reason, Justin. Like, this is going to be some tough practices. I mean, woo-wee. You talk about, hey, earlier this show, we talked about Ken Talley. He's on the practice squad.
Yeah.
5 days of game days. That's pretty much going to be practice leading up to game days. Like, these are going to be insanely intense practice going in. And these 4 freshmen are going to learn what it exactly takes to be back on top nationally.
Yeah.
So I think that just as intangible is also very important with these guys coming back as well.
100%.
These guys are going to be thrown through the meat grinder, but you know what? Hopefully some greatness is going to be made out of there.
Very well said. Very well said.
Thanks. I like to do that like once a month. Have a good thing to say.
So you're covered for the next 3 weeks now.
Mix it up.
Yeah, it's going to be some exciting times in East Lansing, barring something unforeseen, but that is just going to be a lot of fun. Might even take multiple injuries at this point. There's no one injury that can probably dampen the banner expectations, at least in the regular season.
The shows that I'm on, we've jinxed worse than that, so let me just, oh God. I'm going to walk backwards under a ladder, reverse that, but no, man. I mean, kind of on top of that, too, what a stark difference from last year. Like, last year had the whole depth issue. Like, all right, we only got like really 9 scholarship players we could play, maybe 10.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of grow Carson
7
Cooper
can be counted on most nights. Yeah.
Now we got 29 kids. We could like, it's amazing. I'm sure even the student managers can ball out.
Yeah.
Like, it is sensational. So instead of like a PK 85. Where Izzo has to throw poor Jason Whitens on the court for like 22 minutes because, we already have 2 guys injured.
Yeah.
We're only 7 deep right now. Instead of moments like that, I mean, we're going to be going into that Arizona game with wacky lineups, but that's just because Izzo's going to just see what works this early in the season. Like, we could be seeing him in the lab up until early to mid-January, I feel like. Like, it is going to be fascinating to see how the Hall of Fame head coach works this great problem he has. Again, like, we're talking about this like, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge he'll take.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be some people on a certain night, if somebody's shooting like 2 for 7, people are going to be tweeting, shorten the lineup, Tom.
Sure.
But I think all these guys, they have the ability the very next game to be that hot hand guy. On a given day, Cohen Carr might be like 1 for 5 with like 3 turnovers, but the next day he's probably going to be locking down the other team's best scorer.
Yeah.
And there's just not going to be ways for Izzo to shorten the rotation, and that's a problem you'll happily accept. And I think even if it takes a month or 2 longer than every year, by March they're going to know their guys. And the experimentation is just part of the problem when you have some great talent, and that's just what comes with the territory, and you take it.
Nailed it. March is the name of the game.
Yeah.
I would not mind a regular season banner, but March is the name of the game.
They should be able to do both.
Yeah. God, that was exciting. Should we ping pong it back to football really quick? I mean,
some good news this week.
We got a lot. It is good news galore, man. This is fantastic. Hey, the receiver hunt in the portal, over, Justin.
Yes.
Over. That's right. It was one of the first kids that they offered, too.
Yeah.
In the spring portal window, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah. So joining Michigan State is Alante Brown. For those that followed recruiting during the D'Antonio era, Alante was committed to Michigan State before he decommitted, and he ended up going to Nebraska. When he enrolled, actually, going back to that time, Scott Frost was on I believe a radio show, and he was talking about Alante, and he said that after enrolling, they clocked everybody's 40s, and he was the fastest player on the entire Nebraska roster his true freshman winter.
Okay.
So that is exciting. In terms of his production, not great. He started 10 games last season, but only had 16 catches. What I point to there is, you'd say last year Michigan State's passing offense was frustrating, right, Matt?
I'm trying to keep it upbeat today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it positive.
So Michigan State was 6th in the Big Ten. Nebraska was 8th. So if one would categorize last year's Michigan State passing offense as frustrating, Nebraska really was just totally dysfunctional. And I don't blame a kid who is not putting up numbers in that offense with an interim head coach for more than half the year. And so the way I look at it is, production not elite, but you have a kid that has all the tools. He has multiple years of eligibility remaining. You have faith that this time around Michigan State's passing offense will be better from hopefully a consistency standpoint with hopefully better quarterback play. We'll see. But the target share will be here higher than it has been for him in previous years. You're looking at Trey Mosley basically being the only entrenched starter that is going to have a role where he's going to be getting some third down targets and stuff. But other than that, it's wide open. And I believe in the tools. I believe in the tape. And let's see what he does.
I have a burning question for you, and I don't even know how to answer this. That's why I'm
The
pawning
answer
it
is
off
C.
on you. Oh, my heavens. Wow.
Yeah.
Who do you think starts?
I would
That
guess.
wide receiver.
I would guess it's going to be Trey,
Okay.
Tyrell Henry, Alante Brown.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I could see it being like any of the 7 guys that are in that room.
Yeah,
honestly.
I could see it being Christian Fitzpatrick and Jerron Glover instead of the two I said
If
after
I had to
Trey.
guess, that's my guess.
Really?
Tyrell Fitzpatrick and Jerron Glover.
Okay.
But again, I'm
Yeah.
sure that the reps amongst these guys are going to be almost a dead heat,
Right.
at least amongst like the top 5 or 6 receivers.
That's another
Yeah.
thing. The last couple of years here under Mel Tucker, like you haven't seen a lot of kind of rotation at the wide receiver room.
Right.
But if you think about it, it was always a pretty big drop off. Like if you're going to take Jaden Reed and Jalen Naylor out, you better have guys that are at their level right behind them if you're going to do that. Or last year, if you're going to take Jaden Reed, or Keon Coleman, and Trey Mosley out, the guys right behind them better be close to their level, or else just play them every snap. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
This time around, you probably can have a rotation at wide receiver for the first time in a while. So multiple of those guys should be getting in.
Bang. God, that's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of great with football, let's keep the train rolling here. God,
Yeah.
what a beautiful, beautiful end to a wonderful May. It's June, though, pretty soon, and that means official visit season. Hey, you know what? Every single Wednesday night, you can tune in and count on me saying, hey, Justin, you either want that first visit or you want that last visit amongst a lot of these kids. So for the 15th straight week, hey, Justin, you either want the first visit or the last visit with a lot of these kids. And, well, this is the first weekend of official visit season. So we're getting a lot of kids first visits here, and a lot of good kids too, if I am not mistaken, unless there's been like 8 cancellations in the last half hour that I've not seen.
There have not been.
Okay, thank God.
There are 10 kids visiting this weekend, and I guess I'll go from top to bottom in composite ranking order, and then we'll talk about some of them afterwards. The highest ranked kid visiting this week is Bronte Johnson from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He is a top 175 receiver, so in that Nick Marsh range. Some people are also looking at him as DB, just very fluid, very quick twitch, athletic guy. 6'3", 170, speedy guy with a long frame. Dylan Williams, the Long Beach Poly, California linebacker that has Oregon, USC, all the usual suspects from the West Coast after him. So that's going to be a guy that it's going to be a hard pull, obviously, but we'll see if they can go ahead and land him after he visits. Zadavian Sims, obviously committed to Oregon a couple weeks ago, despite keeping his OVs for the ensuing weeks. We'll see what happens there, but obviously just committed to Oregon, so it'll be a tough pull. Jordan Ross, one of the more underrated guys on this visit list. I know rankings-wise he's a composite 4-star, but nobody's really talking about him. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about him. And he's a guy that has a official visit to UCLA, I believe, also scheduled, and Michigan State, and those are the only 2. And really fast kid out there on the West Coast. Another 4-star from California this weekend, along with Dylan Williams. Quasi Gilmer, another 4-star from California. The third of the 4 names that we have here so far.
4-star receivers, man.
Yeah. And
nice.
He's from Chatsworth, California, whereas Jordan Ross was from Downey, and as I said, Dylan Williams was from Long Beach. Quasi Gilmer, he has a pretty stacked OV list. Probably, I would guess he's a harder pull than Jordan Ross. And Marcellus Barnes Jr., another 4-star. He is a corner from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Another kid like Quasi kind of has that loaded official visits list. So Jordan Ross is kind of different than those 2 guys in that sense. He's a little more attainable, I think, based on kind of the picture right now. Jalen Thompson, he is on this list. He is the Michigan State cornerback commit right now. 4-star on the composite. He's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Good to get him back here. Kind of make sure that that commitment is as firm as it has been.
Sure.
Kanan Daniels, the Florida running back commit. We've talked about him in the past. Very, very exciting tape. His team has him basically playing Wildcat quarterback full time. Not even like a wishbone or a triple option.
Nah.
There's no option. It's just he gets the snap and he runs. And just phenomenal tape. He's committed to Florida, but Michigan State is the only other official visit he's taking. So it's not like he's just doing his due diligence and visiting 5 schools for fun. It's just Michigan State. So we'll see what that yields. Eric Carner, he has Alabama, Iowa, Michigan State, Florida as the other 4 schools in his top 5. And seems like Iowa's really, really threatening there, as you kind of would expect with a tight end from the Midwest.
Of course.
So we'll see what happens there. But I think Michigan State is in that top 2. That's kind of the gut feeling I have. And then there's Justin Denson from Providence, Rhode Island. He's a defensive back that has a great offer sheet. Currently unranked in the composite. I think he reclassified, so they're not entirely sure how to handle the rating yet. But he's blown up from an offer perspective, and he was at Michigan State, I believe, in April and in the winter. So he's a name to watch there. So those are the 10 guys, Matt. What are your initial thoughts just hearing all the names?
A really strong start to the month.
Yeah.
No question. Because right now, I mean, look, we're not going to beat around the bush. It is kind of quiet right now in 2024 recruiting. There's almost more people in this conversation than there are in the class right now. But, hey, you know what? A lot of time left before signing day. And if you get out of this month with a few of these commitments that can stem for this first weekend, no one's going to complain about it. But, yeah, it's a nice kickoff weekend here. And look, Michigan State had a lot of strong visitors last year too.
Right.
We all know how it ended. Again, a pretty solid class, top 25, and that's off a 5-7 season. But they only had 18 kids.
Right.
And we've talked about this ad nauseum about you need more Plan B guys. That feels like later on in the month, throughout the month of June, so they're not totally neglecting them. It's not, they're making the same mistakes over and over again by just inviting these 4-star, already committed kids to 2 of these guys.
Right.
So, no, I like it a lot. It's a great way to start. I am excited to see what the photo ops will be this time around. Will it be farm animals? Will it be Ferraris? Are they going to land a blimp on the field? I, for one, think it should be Mel Tucker seated at a nice, checkered tablecloth table, plate of pasta, and the players with the Parmesan grinders. We don't run away from the grind. And that's how we do it. That's right. We are not afraid of the grind. That's going to be the photo ops this year. So once the staff wants to hire me for the creative role, just so they can fire me,
I think that'll get it done.
Yeah, I think so. I got a quick question for you, though, on this first one. Just trying to have a little fun here. Zadavian Sims, committed to Oregon. Okay. Kanan Daniels, committed to Florida. Which one of those 2 do you think is more likely to skirt away from their offer here? What do you think?
I would guess, without having any reason to believe that he's flimsy on his commitment, I would guess Kanan Daniels, just because his commitment to Florida occurred longer ago than Zadavian Sims, and also because I see it way more plausible that a kid decommit from Florida right now than I see a kid decommit from Oregon right now.
Okay, that's beyond fair. Oregon is a wagon in recruiting right now. A bona fide wagon.
Yep.
Also, it is interesting that there's only one official visit.
Yes, that's
Michigan
true.
State. Just like you said, it's not like, I'm going to go down to Texas, LSU, Hawaii, Michigan State. I'm just going to go on a tour on school's dimes.
Hawaii.
That is interesting. That is always my Loctite answer. If you can go on 5 official visits wherever you go, it's Hawaii every time, and then FAU after that. So unfortunately, my football career did not pan out that way. So just have to live vicariously through these kids. Yeah. It is interesting. I also Kanan Daniels on 24/7 rated 346. That's about 200 spots too low. This kid's tape is unbelievable.
I do not disagree.
Yeah,
I do not disagree.
Unless he stays with that Florida commitment, and that
drop him 200.
There we go. So no, it's a good first weekend coming up, and obviously, as the weeks come up, we'll be talking about it here on SD4L. For sure. All right. Well, we've had fun so far. It's been really upbeat, really positive. I've been in a great mood so far. You ready to turn that around right now?
Yes, Matt.
Because we haven't heard. They literally reported them. We've read them. We've seen them. The kickoff times. Okay. Which, hey, you know what? Not all bad.
Yeah.
Not all bad. Okay, the first 4 there are going to be all home games, 7 o'clock, 3:30, 5 p.m., which, sure, dinner at Spartan Stadium, why not? And then 3:30. If you're a season ticket holder, if you love to hit the tailgates hard, you like to get hydrated in the fine parking lots of East Lansing, those are fantastic game times. I mean, 4 back-to-back weekends of just bangers. Please carbo load, everyone. And then the noon game at Rutgers, whatever, who cares? What we will be screaming about until you can see every vein in my forehead is that game against Washington, marquee game, one of the top 3 best games in the country that week. Should have a lot of eyeballs on it. All right, this is going to be a great opportunity for Michigan State to get in front of the national audience. But it's on Peacock.
It is, Matt.
It's on the cock.
Yeah.
So here we are. Son of a... I'm not... Contrary to popular belief, everyone, okay? I know this is a longly held belief that I am stupid, all right? Contrary to popular belief, I'm not stupid. I know why they're doing it, all right? I know that, everyone's saying, it's a cash grab. Correct. That businesses like making money.
Yes.
That is how it goes these days, and it always has. So, yeah, of course, they're going to pull in subscribers for sport games because you know who, is unapologetically just into... you could just charge them anything you want for anything, is diehard sports fans. Mm-hmm. They've already done it with the English Premier League to get fans over to the Peacock. College football is a great, great group to prey upon.
Yes.
Because, look, you could charge anything, probably up to $250.
Yes.
I think I'm going to be suckered into paying that.
I would agree.
So, of course, I'm going to pay for the stupid subscription to Peacock and watch this game at 5 p.m. And so, am I thrilled about it? Absolutely not. And, I know it only costs, what is it, $10, $15?
I think $5 for Peacock.
How much does a banana cost? $10? You know, it's one of those things. But, it's not that. The thing I'm most peeved about is, how many times are you on a Saturday, your team's not playing, you're flipping around channels being what's on ESPN? What's on ABC? What's on CBS? What's on Fox? Just going through the remote. You find a game. You stumble into watching it for an hour and a half. It's just so nice to sit back and do that in a fall. How many times have we all done that, guys? And how many times have we said, hey, I wonder what's on this streaming service. Let me click off of my cable, my basic networks, and go find a game that's on 5 p.m. No one has ever said that. No one ever will say that. So it's just a bummer. The only people watching this game are going to be State fans, Washington fans, and some old person that doesn't really know how to use their Roku remote that just accidentally stumbles on the game. So it's upsetting. Again, I get it. It's all about money, but
Matt, do you want to talk about what is even more upsetting than this game?
I can't wait to hear this. Yeah.
It is not just about this game. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah.
Television, as we know it, is over.
Yep.
Soon.
Yep.
From what ESPN's president said in a Wall Street, I should say a Sports Business Journal article, I think it was an interview 2 months ago.
Yeah.
ESPN said it is a matter of when, not if, regarding when they will stop providing TV coverage, meaning they will scrap all of their TV channels, take all content, all games they own the rights to, so the SEC, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night MLB, everything that's on ESPN SportsCenter, all of it. Sure. They're going to take it. They're going to put it behind a privatized streaming service of their own, probably ESPN Plus, since that's already a thing. They're going to charge $50 a month for it instead. And if you want to watch ESPN and you have cable, too bad. Time for you to buy ESPN Plus. You're not going to watch it on TV. Then what's going to happen when that happens, Matt, is nobody's going to value cable. It seems drastic and sort of tinfoil hat-esque to say, it's going to kill television. But if ESPN pulls TV coverage, I, for one, am done paying for TV. Because the only channels I watch are ESPN and whatever games and whatever channels Michigan State's playing on.
Yep.
So half of that equation is gone.
Yep.
And if you're already paying $50 a month for ESPN, and let's say that Fox does the same thing with all their games, which they would follow suit.
Yep.
NBC does the same with their games.
Yep.
And CBS does the same with their games. They go to Paramount, just like NBC goes to Peacock, and just like ESPN goes to ESPN Plus, Fox, whatever they call it. Those 4 standalone streaming services, unless somehow, some way they get bundled, I don't know if the FCC gets involved. I don't know how that would work. But unless they somehow get bundled into combined packages, you're going to be paying for 4 separate streaming services, and that cost is probably going to be more than you're paying for TV cable right now. And that is the way that sports viewing is going in a few years. And ESPN's president said it's a matter of when, not if.
The vibes on this show have cratered right now. Like Michigan basketball's off season, like a steep plummet downhill very fast. I don't have that kind of money, Justin.
Yep. Gonna Gonna have to pass on watching the Pac-12 on Apple TV Plus, Matt. Gonna have to make some tough choices. Can't be watching Oregon State, Oregon.
Shoot.
Can't be watching the Apple Cup or the Civil War.
Oh, you're gonna take the Apple Cup from me?
Yep, Apple Cup is gone, Matt. You're gonna have to pay $10 for Apple TV Plus, and now it's not even a Ted Lasso you'd be getting out of the equation anymore.
But I want to see the DJU experiment at Oregon State this year.
This is true. I think you're lucky. They're still going to be on network TV for the foreseeable year, 2, 3. But
Okay. My
I don't know if that
Beavers.
experience is worth watching anyway, but I digress.
I won a lot of money on the Beavers last year. They saved me many a Saturday night after a full day of losing. The Beavers were my rally team last year, so thank you for your service.
Shout out to Quiz Rogers.
One time for Corvallis, Oregon. There we go. A lot of listeners in Corvallis tuning in tonight. That's right. You look at the map, the heat map. There's a dot right there in Oregon.
Yeah,
Corvallis.
somebody
for you.
using a VPN.
You got it.
All right, Matt. Now that you have managed to ruin the vibes, is there a 2 Are Facts, 1 is Whack this week?
Might be. Let's mess around and find out. Let's see. Yeah, there is. You know there is. That's right. The theme is, well, it's going to be MSU basketball. And it's going to be some names that you know, some names that we've talked about. AJ Hoggard, Jaden Akins. I mean, look, there's a lot to talk about with Michigan State basketball. Gang, you know the drill. 3 statements, 2 are fact, 1 is whack. You ready to play?
I am.
All right, there we go. Statement number 1. Statement number 1. AJ Hoggard and Jaden Akins were the 2 MSU players that had at least 30 steals and 100 rebounds last season. AJ Hoggard and Jaden Akins were the only 2 MSU players that had at least 30 steals and 100 rebounds last season. Statement number 2. This upcoming season is the first time since the 2017-18 season MSU is returning 4 of the top 5 scorers from the previous season. This upcoming year is the first time since the 2017-18 season MSU is returning 4 of the top 5 scorers from the previous season. And the third statement, Justin, is MSU is returning 77.2% of their minutes from last season. That's a fact, all right? But there's a second part of this fact. That is the highest amongst Big Ten teams. Michigan State is returning 77.2% of their minutes from last season, and that is the highest in the Big Ten. Which one of those was whack?
The middle one.
That was fast.
Unless Max Christie was one of the top 4 scorers on the team 2 years ago. I believe last year was a similar occurrence where the team returns 4 of their top 5 leading scorers. I'm locking it in without overthinking it.
That one is true. That one is true. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to say. It was Christie. It was also like Gabe Brown too. You know.
Oh, totally forgot. Gabe Brown left the same offseason and not the offseason before.
I know. It's like the last 3 years of off seasons, like, and I just blame COVID for this. Like, has thrown off my perception of time.
Yeah.
Like anything before COVID, crystal clear. I can tell you what happened every off season.
Yeah.
But like, I get it there. That one is true. The other one that is true. Actually, we're going to go more into the second statement here. First time since the 2017-18 season, MSU is returning 4 of their top 5 scores. In that offseason, Nick Ward came back, Miles Bridges came back, Langford came back, Winston came back. Only Aaron Harris from that team was the guy that left. This year, it's Hoggard, it's Akins, it's Walker, and Malik Hall. They are 4 of the top 5 scorers. Of course, that 5th guy, Joey Hauser, as you guys know. So that one was true. The other one that was true, AJ Hoggard and Jaden Akins are the only 2 MSU players last season with at least 30 steals and 100 rebounds. The one that was whack was the last one. MSU is indeed returning 77.2 of their minutes, the highest in the Big Ten. No, second highest in the Big Ten. Wisconsin is returning 89.6 of their minutes. But Michigan State is still in good hands because it's Wisconsin, it's Michigan State, and in between those, in the whole country, there's just one other Power 6 school that is ahead of Michigan State. It's Wisconsin, and it's also Marquette. So if you're in the state of Wisconsin, you're returning a lot here. Yeah. So, yeah, it's Wisconsin, Marquette, and Michigan State amongst the Power 6 schools returning the most of their production from
Nobody wants to leave the Midwest.
Season. No one. Why? And why would you? Why would you?
Snow.
Never snows in East Lansing. Always, just like Mel Tucker said before the spring game.
Yeah.
Always sunny in 85 in East
That's
Lansing.
right.
There we go.
I can't believe I forgot Conrad Sejan and the Wisconsin Badgers and all their returning
Sure.
stability.
And like, even if like someone wasn't eligible to return next year, like who's gonna care? Like from last year's Wisconsin team, it's not like they had this murderer's row season last year. They'll be fine next season because they returned everyone. But yeah, like is anyone really gonna know if Tyler Wall ran out of eligibility? Like Chucky Hepburn, if he ran out of eligibility? Like no one's gonna go check the files over in Madison. Not after last year. They get some free eligibility if they want.
Yeah.
So that was 2 are facts. 1 is whack. Thank you very much for playing it. I'm also sorry.
5 and 13. My win streak ends at 1.
Hey, good show, Justin. We did it. There we go. Packed show today, Justin.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on us.
Yeah.
We did not piss down our leg this show. It was
I would say so.
Good execution today. You know?
Yeah.
We did it. How are we going to land this plane?
I think that's it.
Oh.
Thanks for tuning in. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's going to be a good month of June here. Going to have some official visits to talk about every single week.
Yep.
And it's going to be getting closer to football season, obviously. Maybe we'll put out some betting advice so that you can light money on fire. Should be a fun few months. And you can already tell the vibes we're turning on this episode. Going to be some excitement here coming up soon. So we'll be looking forward to bringing coverage on that. But I think that does it for this week's episode of the SD4L Show. For Matt, for Justin, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
You guys are the best. Go green.